Hopefully you guys can keep that up.
It's just me. 10 accounts.
All right. So let's get into topics for today.
Well, the biggest thing is definitely going to be MW, right?
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Comes out
Tonight
tomorrow.
Tonight at 9 a.m.
Ooh.
9 p.m.
Wait,
Oh,
9
really?
p.m.?
9 p.m. Eastern. Yes, so
Oh
it's
boy.
gamer time.
It's gamer time.
All right. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about some really big concerns for this game, because we talked about a few last week, but we didn't get totally into it. So, have you guys heard about the loot box controversy and battle pass and that kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, there's pretty much confirmed at this point to be battle passes and loot boxes in Modern Warfare, and that's concerning a lot of people, including us, because we've kind of seen how loot boxes have gone in the past with a bunch of different games. Battlefront 2, one of the worst PR nightmares in history at this point, started because of loot boxes and unfair practice and stuff like that.
Even all the older CODs definitely suffered from loot boxes.
I'm really concerned. Not only is there loot boxes, but there's also an exclusivity deal. So if you guys haven't heard about it, there's a 1-year period where PlayStation users only will get access to limited time survival mode.
It is apparently, like, significantly reduced in other aspects, though, as far as, like, them getting DLC for, like, 3 weeks of exclusivity and that sort of thing. I think that's kind of dampened off. But definitely, like, the survival thing and being basically told that because Activision has an agreement with PlayStation and or Sony that we aren't going to get content that they already developed.
For the entire game cycle.
Right.
Yeah,
Which is just kind of crazy to me, like just a bit of a ludicrous thing, especially just considering this is a $60 full release, and like.
The only thing I will say about it is I wasn't a huge fan of the Spec Ops survival in Modern Warfare 3,
neither.
and so I guess if they were going to lock anything behind exclusivity, I'd rather it be survival mode.
I mean, that's totally fair, but for the people that liked it and played it on Xbox, a year is the entire life cycle of the game, which I think hurts the game in a lot of ways.
I think that this game might live on beyond that, especially if they do a BR, but
It has potential.
I really hope so, but at the same time, Black Ops 4 has a BR mode, but it's pretty tied into the game engine of this specific game.
And this is again I think new engine, right? For COD,
I believe so.
like it's
Yeah,
got to be
I
at
think
least
so.
it's got to be at least like the most far removed COD engine that I've played on, like at least comparably to like any of the old games. Like it definitely has like a different feel.
Oh, it looks amazing.
It looks
It does
amazing.
look better, yeah.
But
Plus RTX too for anybody with gamer consoles. I mean PCs. What?
But I'm just really concerned because every year COD decides to drop a new game, and I think that hurts the game in a lot of ways, because not only do we not really get a lot of time for bug fixes and stuff like that, you basically have to burn out one development team by just forcing them to work on bug fixes the entire year on top of new content if they decide to drop any. So that's super concerning, and that's kind of why Fortnite was kind of really bad for anybody that worked at Epic Games. Yeah.
And honestly, too, like, have you heard some of the backlash at Fortnite season 11?
Chapter 2?
Chapter 2?
Yeah, you're
Okay,
too
I'm
late.
sorry. Anyway, like, from what I've heard so far, a bunch of people seem to be really not very pleased. Like, especially because a lot of people expected a mechanics change for, like, the new season.
Yeah.
Like, even just something to, like, switch things up.
Yeah.
And it just didn't come. And or like I think other day, Shroud had a direct quote that was basically like, "I'm glad I'm playing Fortnite because it makes me appreciate how good Apex Legends looks."
He did say that, yeah.
That just comparably, like, and of course I'm not a huge Fortnite guy. I haven't been a part of the scene at all. I haven't played competitively ever, but still, like, I don't know.
I really think Chapter 2 was a good thing for Fortnite, but at the same time, if you're working like a development studio for such a big game, Fortnite, people don't want to claim it as such a big cash cow for basically anybody. Tech companies, Logitech had a comment about it. It's such a big part of the industry now, and it's hard to ignore. But at the same time, you're burning out these developers super hard. So I can't imagine what it'd be like to do that to a Call of Duty franchise. But like Rainbow Six Siege is one of our favorite games. We've played it hundreds of hours, and that game released several years ago. Um,
4 years ago.
yeah,
2015.
And this
back
is
in
actually a
2015.
game too that's gotten significantly better since release.
Yeah, and it's taken at least a few years. So I really struggle to think why Call of Duty continues to do the 1 year cycle. Simply just because so many games have come back from basically the brink of death that like shouldn't have come back at all. If Rainbow Six Siege was a 1 year game, nobody would be playing it now because at the 1 year point there really wasn't that many players.
No, and it was kind of very far off from what they revealed in the reveal trailer. It was kind of disappointing.
It's gotten so much better through that through the time that they've been allowed to have, and even though they're not the most speedy of like patches and stuff like that, it's still leagues better than what it used to be. So, in like, not only that, you think about CS:GO or any other really long running game, like TF2 is still pretty big on Steam, right?
Yeah.
So it has a player population.
Yeah, so imagine a game like CS:GO that's limited to a 1 year cycle. People like Shroud have played in the competitive scene for years before they even like got a big win. Scoodoodle, like you said, some other time. How long was he in the scene?
Years.
So
yeah, he was on Cloud9 for a while.
So I really want this game to be competitive for a long time, just because I really think it has the potential.
If it gets certain, like, I think League play would be a really good start, especially because I think that was a way to get casual players easily into competitive for Black Ops 2, which is easily one of the best competitive Call of Duties, I would argue. Like, as far as just, like, its balance and how it played competitively,
they had tremendous
like, it was
League
actually,
play.
like, a good...
Yeah.
It was actually, like, a good game, and or, like, you could tell that there was thought put into like the League play, and you used MLG rule sets and that sort of thing, and it changed up the game for you, and you kind of got to have a different experience. But yeah.
Well, yeah, and that is probably the largest factor I feel like personally that's impacted by 1 year development cycles is Call of Duty's pro scene. And I've watched a little bit of the Rainbow Six pro scene. I've watched a lot of Counter-Strike, and these games, like we said, don't have 1 year cycles. And like new metas come out, and players have to learn new changes, maybe new weapon additions and whatnot. Yeah, a map every year maybe, but for Call of Duty pros, because even if, right, we say that Modern Warfare is going to outlive its 1 year cycle, they're probably still going to release other Call of Duties,
which really...
and the pro scene will have to shift to the new ones.
Mm-hmm.
It can't stay.
It's mandated by Activision.
Yeah.
They have an actual league now too, and several teams have actually gotten out of Call of Duty because of this. I think that there's an entry. There's like a kind of steepish entry.
I think
fee to
you
get
do
into,
have
like,
to
a
buy
league.
into their league,
right?
Yeah,
like
their top tier league.
Right. But like, and I know that several teams have said like their like leadership and that sort of thing has basically just said that it's unsustainable.
It
like,
really is.
And the other terrible thing about COD 2, or terrible and good at the same time, is that because every year you get a new developer with a different take on something that's kind of familiar, what ends up happening is that year to year you can have even players go from being like the best Black Ops 2 player to like a mediocre Call of Duty Ghost player. And
Absolutely.
that affects teams in such a significant way where like you can't keep a roster for more than like 1 year.
Yeah.
And then you have to switch up your roster every year
Well,
too.
and if we think about Siege, right?
Just to try to compete.
They add a new map about every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
If that.
Isn't that like about every season though?
Yeah. Each season is 3 months, and so sometimes they're just map reworks, sometimes they're new maps. So you learn a new map about once every 3 months. Okay, and of course the competitive map pool changes, right?
And rarely introduces that same map, right? At least
it'll push it into
upper
casual before it gets pushed into the competitive. But imagine instead of learning a new map every 3 to 6 months or whatever, you have to learn like 20 to 30 within a year.
Now-
if that the game releases, I don't know how soon the pro scene starts.
Plus, it's not just that either. Like in other games, like CS and/or I think Siege 2, you only play one game mode, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you only play Bomb and Siege, and
yeah,
you just
and
play
and in COD
Counter-Strike.
though, you play like a bunch of different maps, different game modes on every map. You have to learn. Mostly, a lot of it's about spawns.
Yeah.
Mostly, like at least how most of their game modes work, because you're not playing one life like
Yeah.
around. It's mostly based on
Yeah.
trying to get your team in the most advantageous setup per like rotation.
I just can't imagine being able to do that and then also learning a new engine, because it's like players like Ninja used to be in Call of Duty competitive. He hasn't played in a long time.
Was he in Call of Duty competitive?
He was either
He was a Halo. He was a Halo
I
player.
was gonna say I thought that he was Halo, but
my bad.
I know that like Tim the Tap Man, a player who plays with Ninja, played a lot of COD.
Yeah.
I just really don't see how like you can basically have such a good amount of players that you basically force them to relearn, because in Siege especially, players like Bo has been playing on YouTube for a few years. He didn't really get into the competitive scene until really recently, so Siege over the course of its lifetime has been able to add new people from just being a really good streamer or content creator into the pro scene. And he's now on a team. So I don't think that having it a 1-year cycle does Activision any favors. I really think they could make more money and just have a more enjoyable pro scene if they did it 2-3 year development cycles, or like let the developers have more time or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't know how their like developer cycles are contracted, because they're still in, I think, the 3-year development cycle with Infinity Ward, Treyarch, and Sledgehammer.
Yep.
And so I don't know if that's a contract that runs out, or if it's just like kind of a unanimous agreement.
Are you talking about the way they choose the developer cycle?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, and this is just me guessing again because I don't know anybody at Activision or something, but like what I would guess is that because they're such a large publisher, and because they know that every year they can capitalize the same way that EA capitalizes on, like, let's say their sports franchises, that every year we can do a re-release and make X amount of money. I think that that's been the thing that drives that the most, is definitely just that they know that every year people are looking for the new Call of Duty. It isn't like that people are like, man, I wish that we could just have this one forever.
Yeah.
And their community is always like that, especially the play, and that's what happens too with their pro scene too, is that the players will then basically become fixated on one of their games, their favorite.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, they only want games that are like that. And they're kind of outraged on the years that they're playing games that aren't similar to that.
Yeah.
And so it just leads to this community that kind of hates their own game for like certain years, like
because you have
cycles.
people that
Like
only buy Treyarch Call of Duties. Maybe it's for zombies, or they just enjoy the style that Treyarch puts on the games.
I don't know.
But
it could be both, especially because I think that their MP design
nonetheless,
is just kind of.
I guess they still are loyal to Treyarch, and so when Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer come around, they're just kind of angry.
Yeah.
It just boggles my mind that they're able to just like keep the sales numbers.
Cash grab.
Basically, it really boggles my mind that they're able to keep the sales numbers as consistent as they have, through the years, even because they have such a weird split player base. Because you have people that like only played Black Ops, only played Modern Warfare, and like these people are in the same community as grouped by like Twitch and stuff like that, but these are like pretty drastically different, like in terms of whatever they enjoy in terms of actual game modes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Different game engines. It's really strange. So I'll be playing tonight, hopefully.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I'm excited.
Not with your
for
download speed. Are you kidding me?
Got him. No, but like, it's definitely exciting. One thing I was disappointed in, I went to preload today, and like we were trying to talk about last week, maybe they would have it split to where like I could only install like MPN whatever.
Yeah.
and it's sadly
It's a whole package.
it seems to be it's the whole package because
Yeah.
like I started my install before I left for here.
Oh, you can preload?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
it's out at 9 p.m. In 5 hours, the
Well,
game
I'm-
is launched.
I'm sorry. I got a job.
Oh, he's got a job. Okay.
Oh boy.
But I will go download that after this, of course.
Yeah, well, I gotta go buy an SSD or something. Dude, this game is huge. I cannot believe it. But
I mean, I can
oh,
definitely
well.
believe it, especially because they're not. I just really think that like for a quality of life adjustment, like eventually we should be able to.
Also, did you see it
Uninstall
requires
some of these
DirectX 12?
Yeah.
Nuts.
Kinda.
First,
Until you realize that like. I feel like at this point, with the way that COD's going, like why would they still support like DX11 that sort of thing?
no, I agree, but it is the start of the change.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know though. How long have we had DX12 games for? A little while, right?
I mean, for Call of Duty though.
Oh, for Call of Duty,
Yeah.
definitely. Especially because they normally, for a while, right? They've been developing on that super old it's like a version of the Source engine, I think.
Really?
That's what I think that some of the first games were built on. It was like definitely changed like a lot,
Yeah.
but like modified.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, and we'll see how it goes tonight.
Yeah.
So
Report back next week with our findings.
So-
We forget to come in because we're playing COD.
We're playing too much Call of Duty.
whoops. Anyway, next big news: EA games might be coming back to Steam.
Which is just crazy, especially considering like just the absolute rage at people just like not liking Origin at all.
It
And
is.
and I don't like it either. I think there's a bunch of things about it that are just plainly
We've been playing Apex recently, and Apex is obviously on Origin.
Yeah.
I have to disable Origin to even play Apex.
Yeah.
I can't use my mouse unless I disable the Origin overlay. And so if I need to like invite people, I have to like tab out and
Yeah.
invite them through the main launcher.
So the way that it'll be working, supposedly, is that it basically will work like Ubisoft games, like Rainbow Six Siege, so where you can buy the game through Steam, and then you can you basically just have to have the Origin launcher to run it, but you can still launch it and buy DLC and stuff through Steam instead of having like being forced to use the Origin thing.
They compared it to the way that Rainbow Six Siege works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't think is a terrible system.
Yeah. I really like that the way that Siege is on thing. It's a little confusing sometimes if you want to like gift stuff, but at the same time, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
I don't want to just play it on Ubisoft because
And unified launchers are they're a treasure.
yeah. I don't know. I'm really excited because I like a lot of EA games, and I don't want to spend a ton of money on Origin because it's a separate like it's an entirely separate ecosystem, and it's just really frustrating that a lot of games are just kind of kept on one platform.
Do you
and
think
not-
prices will drop?
maybe? I really hope that they do like Steam sales, stuff like that, but like
Yeah, I'm
tell.
sure they would do that.
yeah.
But I mean, like, because now you wouldn't have to exclusively use Origin,
hmm
and so I don't know if prices would drop. Probably not.
You guys cool with that topic that I had?
Well, I think the reason the reason they go away from Steam is because Valve likes to take a large chunk of the profits. So if they went back to Steam, I don't see them lowering the prices because they have to kind of make up for Valve taking some of that
I guess that's
for
fair.
themselves.
Valve is greedy. I buy
Yeah.
and sell a lot of CS:GO skins, and they take
Tax
just
you endlessly.
15%. It's because you have to pay. It's 10% to Valve and then 5% to Counter
I
Strike.
think it's really interesting too how we're seeing governments start to step in and try to control those sorts of things, like with the loot boxes and that sort of thing. Like if
Yeah.
I'm playing Belgium FIFA, I guess I just can't open any packs.
No. How did they get around that? I know. Didn't in Apex they give you like, you just get crafting materials
You
now,
get crafting materials now
and so you can
in
just.
larger amounts, it seems.
Yeah.
So
I
you
almost think
can-
I would prefer that.
I mean, I agree with you, especially because like the idea of this pack system being anything more than gambling is kind of silly to me.
It really is.
Because like it's not even disguised very well. It's
No.
just gambling, and what's even worse is that when you gamble in that economy, you get completely controlled by whoever's running it. So if EA is running the economy, they can tax you however much. If Valve is running the economy, they can tax you however much. Like, and there's no
Surprise mechanics, dude. It's just surprise mechanics, dude.
surprise
It's legal.
mechanics. Exactly. Thank you. Loot boxes.
But yeah, I mean, Ubisoft does sales through Steam. I've seen plenty of times where they're like, "Hey, do you want to buy Assassin's Creed? Do you want to buy Assassin's Creed for like 50% off?"
I got like almost the entire Assassin's Creed franchise for like $20.
Yeah.
I don't even think they're installed.
I mean, but you have them.
I have them now.
The newest one, like 3 months after it came out, was already 50% off on Steam.
Yeah.
So it's not that it did bad, or they just don't care about the price of it.
Yeah, I really don't know, but I mean, it's just really nice to be able to have a system that just lets you play games through whatever software you want. Hopefully, Epic Games comes around to that idea, or Blizzard, or whatever other company. But I don't know. We'll see. Next, there's a new Battlefield 5 trailer. Have you guys seen it?
No, I haven't.
We're gonna drop that real quick. So
Yeah, news.
3 hours ago, new news: Shroud to Mixer.
Breaking news.
Exclusivity deal.
Oh, no way.
Shroud to Mixer. So Mixer makes another huge move in acquiring another large audience off of Twitch.
Well, and here's what. So I watched.
Sorry for interrupting Battlefield 5. Then we'll go.
No problem.
I watched a game theory video on why that didn't make sense really for them to do, because they like he basically said that Ninja wouldn't be able to sustain the platform, right? And so like he would just need to get other people over there. So I guess Mixer watched the video and said, we don't need Ninja to get him over there. We'll just throw more money at him. And so now Shroud's over
Now
there.
Shroud's officially on there.
That's super interesting. I think Mixer might actually become a super competitive streaming service
It's going
eventually.
to. And what's really appealing too about Mixer is that whereas you might never ever be on the Twitch main page, with Mixer, like, you pick the right hour and you could genuinely be one of the biggest channels on there because of how like relatively small it is compared to Twitch.
So you're saying it's like it'd be better for like smaller creators?
I think so. I mean, at least that makes more sense to me. Like, if you were going to get into streaming tomorrow, I would say like I would start streaming on Mixer just because I think that you would be able to generate a large audience there. Just at least in a world where Twitch has a bunch of really, really good content producers that people go back to on a daily basis.
There's just so much stuff on Twitch. That's the whole thing. So I think Mixer's super interesting. I really like how Microsoft is basically doing a Disney here, where they're just like, you know, we'll just buy all the content and just take it as our own. No problem. We'll just do exclusivity.
Well, and that's like because they're throwing millions at
Oh,
Shroud.
it's got to be because like these people are like their brand, like which is this viewership, like is worth a lot.
And they're
like,
throwing and initially they're gonna lose a lot of money for probably a couple years. But that's the beauty of like having Microsoft and like Amazon behind like these companies is they can let like their other revenue streams back
they can
it up.
Throw money at a problem and it'll just work eventually.
And it will work eventually.
So I'm really interested to see this like investment phase. I want to see who they decide to pick up because Ninja and Shroud are like two of the biggest streamers on the platform on
and
Twitch.
They both touch a weird audience too, because a lot of I think the audience for those two players specifically is very competitive.
Are they gamers, dude? Are you calling gamers weird?
No, I'm not saying that's weird. It's just it's just a competitive like
mostly battle royale
/ shooter fans. I would say, like, especially if you're just both of those people.
But I mean, those that's a huge portion of the gaming market.
And it's a big audience right now, especially because Shroud's playing a little bit of Fortnite too.
Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch. There's a lot of FPS, and then that makes up for a lot of numbers. So I don't know. I'm really excited to see what goes on Mixer, and if it has like the creature comforts that Twitch eventually gets. So we'll have to see. But I'm kind of excited.
Now the Battlefield 5 trailer. I guess
so.
About that.
No problem.
Basically, so the Battlefield 5. update is coming out next week, and it will be free for all players.
Not only that, it will be set in the Pacific. So for people that bought Battlefield 5 expecting kind of an old Call of Duty kind of thing where you fought both in Pacific and in Europe, you get that part of the DLC, you get that part of the experience now.
Mhm.
So I haven't bought Battlefield 5, but I mean, I can't say that I've never wanted to try it.
It's appealing considering that we get free, because like it used to be that you wanted to get, I think it was premium,
Mhm.
and then premium was basically the equivalent of
The
a
regular
season
version of the game.
pass.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's like those like $80 bundles that like COD and like I think Siege has one where you get like the base game and then whatever
I
like
think you
season
get,
pass
like,
you're currently on.
and what it ended up deriving to is basically like they'll give you both. If you're a premium member, they'll give you both free like little loot boxes and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
as well as the DLC, which again, by the way, makes up a large portion of Battlefield games. Like they can double like their maps in
Yeah,
DLC. I don't really understand why it works that way. I think that this is a better approach
obviously
with it being
working.
free now.
Yeah, I Battlefield 1 introduced premium friends,
And it
which
splits
I thought
the
was
player base too,
yeah.
because only some people can play the maps, and then those maps and or servers end up being like kind of low occupancy because not everybody's premium. And
I think
weirdness.
I think it's a really good step forward in terms of the franchise, because Battlefield 4, if you didn't pay for premium, you'd basically get dunked on by anybody, because not only do you just get more like abilities every time you level up, or like more attachments, stuff like that, it's just it's the better way to play the game, like just outright.
Pretty much, and they give you like, I don't know, it's just so much content.
Yeah, it's so much stuff, so many maps, new weapons, new
Weapons,
challenges.
yeah.
So Battlefield 1 did premium friends, where basically if you own the game, own premium, you can invite your friends, but they wouldn't get any level ups from it or anything like that, but they could at least play with you. I think that was an interesting like way to do it, but I think this is a better way, and it's kind of taking the notion from Rainbow Six Siege, where you don't actually have to buy the season pass at all. You can just grind and grind and grind and grind and get the new operators, and you also get the maps for free, as well as all the other creature comforts everyone else gets, which is super nice. You know what I mean?
yeah. The only thing you'd miss out on in not getting the season pass would be like you get like a skin and you get
Cosmetics.
like a 3% renown boost or something.
Yeah, it's nothing huge. So I think it's just kind of nice that they're taking cues from, at least in my opinion, one of the better monetized games. I think Siege does a really good job with monetization.
It's not bad. The
I
only thing I will say is I think they said that they weren't going to release. They used to do, if you didn't get the season pass after the season ends, you could get their operator bundles, and I think they said they're not doing it for this past season. They're not. They're gonna. They said they're gonna figure out a different way to bundle the operators,
yeah,
which is nerve wracking.
I mean, one of the things that I still have an issue with though with Siege is just for every new operator that they introduce, who are you even going to use? Thatcher, Thermite, Hibana.
Default or year one.
I mean,
maybe.
but that's kind of a good thing though, because
No, I mean I get it,
that's-
and that like they have nuanced like little roles and that sort of things
Yeah.
that they can do, but it's just one of those deals to me to where like what even motivates me to buy DLC when I know that
Oh,
like
a lot of them are just gimmicky.
yeah basically
I mean,
I mean, you
fair.
have DL like Echo and Jackal
Knock.
are like huge.
Knock, like is Knock anything more than just a gimmick?
Yeah, not really.
Like
I really think that that's an interesting way though, because you have such strong operators in the first year
right.
that you don't have an issue with power creep. The few operators that you do have power creep have been around for such a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, I get you. I mean, like, I guess it's just more this idea that we're going to introduce things just for the sake of, like, all right, we got 2 new operators this season, here you go. And, like, we all know that they're not going to last more than, like, maybe a season, and the only reason they'll last then is because when they release the operator, they make them kind of overpowered, and then they end up nerfing it.
Yeah.
Like, almost traditionally, like to where we can look at like the release of an operator. He's strong early on, his pick rate might be high, and then it dips off.
They've gotten pretty good though. At least in the last few seasons, if you've been watching, they've been pretty good about it. with just keeping them at least balanced when they come out. It definitely was the worst when Chimera came out, right?
I'm trying to think of like the worst season where like
Lion-
they released
Lion
something.
was the
Lion
worst.
was
That was-
terrible.
that was
oh
Chimera.
my goodness.
Even Finka was
Even
really.
Finka was so strong. Like if you didn't have a Finka, like you were. I mean, not you weren't at a disadvantage because of
No.
course, like you. It's just her ability was just so
Plus,
good. Like,
you have
and
to
helped
think
the
about it.
entire team.
Chimera was only attacking operators.
Yeah.
So you got this weird
I didn't
attacking
like that either.
imbalance, and you had to counter it with ops that everyone already knew how to play.
Yeah, it was really interesting because they went for PVE balance first because
Yeah.
they balanced it around that, which was
Yeah,
really
with
weird.
their weird.
But I mean, it's gotten a lot better. So I'm excited. I might pop into Battlefield sometime and just try to see how it plays because I know it got a lot of bad press, pretty bad PR.
Early on.
Yeah, but I mean, Battlefield has kind of always had
Normally,
a
the
rough
tradition
start.
of them is to release a bad game, and then over a series of several months, patch it until it becomes a really good game, and then by then, nobody even knows that it was a good game because of all the bad press, and then they have a low player base. Basically, what's happened for the past several games they've released. DICE,
Yeah.
I mean. And the most logical explanation that I can figure out in my head is that it's probably not just that DICE just doesn't know how to finish a game so much as EA just says, so you guys ready to release? And DICE says no, and then they say, all right, so it'll be out in like 2 weeks, right? And they're just like, and then they do it anyway. Like,
Yeah.
Oh boy.
One thing I'm curious with, because I noticed they mentioned they were bringing back the 2 classic maps, Iwo Jima and Wake Island. And
yeah.
That's what I was gonna mention. It's
Wake
almost like
Island's
Return to
actually a
Form.
really good map.
Yeah.
I played a lot of 1942. Like that was
Yeah.
the only Battlefield game I mainly played.
Mhm.
And my favorite mechanic was you could drive the giant battleships.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you can do that
Drive them?
again. You could get in the aircraft carrier and run it ashore.
That's really interesting, especially just because, like, you could run the aircraft.
You could. I mean, that was the funnest part of it.
That was the funnest part. I don't know.
Just
It's
cuts
because
the
I've
map
seen
in half.
aircraft carriers, like, even in, like, BF4, and I've never seen the ability to pilot one.
Battlefield
But admittedly,
1,
that has a lot of things on tracks, too. Like, their Levolution are basically just, like, events that you're just, like, you know how to cause them, so it's just kind of like...
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
Look at
Yeah.
the destruction
Look
that
at
you
it.
can cause.
Yeah, I think that Battlefield 1 did the Dreadnought. I don't know if you've seen any gameplay, but basically you could kind of do the same thing. You couldn't drive it ashore, I don't think, but like you could be taking care of Dreadnought or like taking care of people from hundreds of yards away. I don't know how it was balanced really, but at the same time, I think hopefully they'll take a step in that direction where they just keep expanding it. But who knows? I'll have to see. I might go buy it honestly.
Is
dream-
it still at $60?
I think so.
My dream balance patch for, like, a game that just has been out for a while would be just, like, if I open Titanfall 2 one day and they're just like, so we updated it and we removed all the things that are stupid. That's a side note.
It happened to Half-Life. It can happen
It
to
could
Titanfall
happen
2
in
any day.
Titanfall 2 any day.
Ooh boy. So, kind of non sequitur. Riot Games, the developer of League of Legends, at the 10-year anniversary of League of Legends, decided to introduce a whole bunch of new things, including Project A, a tactical shooter, like a
An
first-person shooter.
FPS, yeah, made by Riot, which is
Someone say FPS?
yeah.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
It's a mixture. They said, or a lot of people are comparing it to Counter-Strike mixed with Overwatch.
That's what. Yeah, I saw a picture on Elias's laptop, and that map literally looks like
No,
dust.
yeah.
It looks like cat on dust.
Yeah, no, it's definitely I think meant to be like a kind of a
Combination.
CS like
Yeah.
esque game. For what they didn't release a lot of information about it. Like it's basically just a teaser, but yeah.
Even from the teaser, there's like a little GIF that's playing.
Mhm.
It looks like Counter-Strike, but done from somebody different.
Yeah,
So
which is interesting. I don't know. I just think it's cool too because I bet you that this game could be a free release once
That's
it
what I'm-
actually comes.
if they're trying to compete with Counter-Strike, I don't think they can. I don't think they could put a price tag on it.
Is League's free?
I think
League's
so.
free, yeah.
So yeah.
So, if I had to guess what Riot Games is probably trying to do by breaking into the FPS scene, I would guess this game would be free. But I don't know this.
Yes, CS is free now, so it's an interesting market for FPS. So I'm just really concerned, not because I think Riot can't do it. I just want to see how they're able to manage, balance and all that kind of stuff that everyone else has to do, and how they're going to be able to break into the scene. Just because it's not super novel, it's not like some new concept, radically new. It looks like Counter-Strike, just in a better engine, at least from what I can tell. So I'm curious to check it out. It doesn't really have a release date or anything like that, but hopefully we'll see more about it soon. I'm pretty interested to see how it turns out.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll definitely check that out as long as it's free to play. I don't think I would buy a Counter-Strike copy.
Oh, I
Honestly.
wouldn't.
Especially because I've got too
wouldn't-
much money into Counter-Strike now.
I wouldn't buy anything that's. If it's too much like Overwatch, then I'm not sure if I'll be a huge fan. Just because I don't like that. I don't like that visual overload.
Yeah, I don't. I
Like,
have
it just-
Overwatch, and I just don't like it.
I mean, I've tried watching Overwatch like before, like when it was popular and I was considering getting it, and not say it isn't popular now. I know it still has a competitive scene, and I know there's still players. And I'm not trying to offend anybody who likes the game, but I
Just
don't.
not for you.
It's just not for me.
But I mean, a lot of big games come out free. You have so many games that come out. Apex, Fortnite, Destiny. It's like CS is free.
Apex is still something that I don't feel like people talk about that release enough, because that was one of the best game releases that I've ever seen, ever.
Well, and it really,
Ever. Like, and,
really
like, and
aimed straight at a niche market in the battle royales,
Mhm.
because they're like,
Well, they were
people
based-
have solos, people have duos, and people play 4-man squads. What do you don't want a random queue if you only have three.
I won't
3-man
lie to
squad.
you. That's the only thing that still disappoints me with Apex right now is that,
Except there's no
they
other.
still don't have other game modes, and I know it's probably to keep their player base together. Probably.
Yeah.
Like if I had to guess,
Plus, like,
but
it throws
we need
balance.
2s and 4s in that game. That game needs 2s and 4s. Like
I'm just-
for a quality of life thing, just to compete with Fortnite. Like you should have these game modes because people want them and need them.
Yeah, I'd interested to see the balance, but I'm just saying, Apex came out of nowhere and it became one of the biggest games to watch and like on Twitch. So I'm interested to see what this release for Riot Games' project will be, and see how that plays out on Twitch and maybe even on Mixer. Who knows at this point?
Yeah.
Check it out on Mixer.
Check it out.
So, some Google Stadia news. Google Stadia is set to release on November 19th, so that's like pretty close.
Yeah.
Google actually had a really big victory in the last week. So this article was published Tuesday, and Darksiders Genesis, I believe, is the name of the game.
Yeah, that's the newest Darksiders, right? And I know that this is a fairly popular series. I think it's the third of the fourth iteration of it, right?
So Darksiders Genesis, releasing on December 5th, will be coming ahead of PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch.
They're already pushing exclusivity for this?
It's not exclusive.
It's timed exclusivity.
Well, time exclusive.
Yeah,
but
so that's
Still crazy.
Google managed to pull out a really early exclusivity deal.
They're also saying that they're gonna have Cyberpunk and Watch Dogs Legion in 2020.
So that's like
So
really big. So Google Stadia now has a huge library of games.
as well as Red Dead and Mortal Kombat too.
Yeah, that's
which are big.
Yeah, and the fact that you don't have to worry about console really, because it's pretty cheap for a console service, and you don't have to worry about if you're on PC, like spec wise and things like that, you don't have to worry about it. Just internet speed.
Yeah,
That's-
all you need is a Chromecast and the controller. That is what Stadia is.
So that's kind of crazy. I'm kind of impressed on how
I
it's
think
gonna be
it'll
going.
actually be fairly popular in the Cove.
I mean, I'm hoping so. But
Oh, you mean like here?
Yeah, no, like
Yeah.
literally like right
It
outside.
could.
Why would you not, instead of carrying your PS4 here, why would you not just put your
little-
Chromecast and a controller in the bag, and then
So-
That's
come?
very
I'm really
I just think it'll actually compete mostly with Switch to an extent. I'm sorry.
no, that's totally okay. I'm just saying it's like this is gonna be a big deal for people that can't afford consoles that often.
Can't afford consoles and/or can't afford PCs.
Yeah, just
And/or just mobile gamers, like people who like don't like or people who travel a lot.
Yeah.
Like
this is a big deal for people that aren't super into game, but they want to be, but they can't afford a console
I think it's
every
kind
few
of
years.
a really good casual like gaming system.
For sure. So I'm excited to see what happens in a month or two when it comes out.
Especially if they can get crossplay with certain games too, and like get into markets that they just otherwise aren't. Like if they can get into like Call of Duty crossplay, like that would be big.
The only thing, and I know they say that, I can't help but imagine there would be a decent latency difference.
That's true, but you don't always have to play competitive games. Even if it's
No,
if
yeah.
they get into a market where it's just single player games.
I don't think that there's going to be that latency there, because I don't think Google would release a product knowing that people would pick them apart like that for stuff so simple.
Yeah, even
especially when I think that they're going to run most of the like console side stuff is probably going to be run on like some heavy duty PCs in a server room owned by Google somewhere.
I don't know about the latency thing, but I think they could even get a big market if it's just, even if it's just single player games, even if it's just really casual games where it's co-op or anything like that. I really think
that would be fun.
That's what the Switch is doing, right?
Yeah,
Mainly
and
co-op and like single player and stuff.
the Switch, even the portable Switch, where it's like no console mode and it's just portable, still is kind of expensive for what it's worth. You don't have to pay a subscription, but I mean, at the same time, if you want to play online anything, you do. So Google Stadia would be a good way. Unfortunately, Nintendo still has exclusives that way, but if you don't care about Nintendo exclusives, this is a pretty big deal for anybody who wants to play console games or anything like that on pretty nice settings. Like 1080p is like what people can like pretty much tolerate all the time.
It's becoming a staple.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's pretty standard, pretty intro level, which is pretty good. I'm excited for it. I'm just I don't know.
Are you gonna get it?
Maybe I might think about it, but we kind of already have a whole bunch of consoles.
That's what I'm saying. I couldn't justify purchasing it after dropping $1,200 on a PC.
But at the same time, it's just for people that can't do that.
It's a good market they've targeted.
Yeah. Steam Remote Play is coming. There's actually a beta. So, I don't know if you guys have used any of these services, but there's plenty of third-party services where basically you can play certain co-op games with friends, basically over the internet. But Steam doesn't have it locally or integrated. So, it's now in beta. So any games like Spelunky, I think, as well as some other like types of games.
Lego Star Wars.
Yeah. Any game like that.
Remote play together. Interesting.
So instead of just doing a third-party service, Steam has just integrated into the platform. And basically, only one person needs to have the game installed.
That's crazy, actually.
Yeah, like that's it. So instead of basically having two people on the game and then just playing over the internet or wherever like that, you can just play it locally, and basically the one person streams to the other, and that's it. So hopefully it becomes something like Google Stadia.
And this is out now, by the way, if you opt into Steam betas, just so you know, if you're like itching to try this.
I think it's pretty interesting.
It's a good idea, and like this article mentioned specifically, is that they're kind of putting themselves head and shoulders above any other platform, especially on PC. Like Origin doesn't have remote play together.
No.
So.
And they're doing it at potentially a cost to them if only one person has to own a game.
Yeah,
Which.
and not only that, they're going to be working on network stability and compatibility over hardware. So I think there's a lot of games that are pretty interesting to play, but it's just coming together and playing them is kind of not like not the best. It's not super convenient.
Yeah.
Whereas like certain games let you play online, but I think this is a really good way to just do local multiplayer games. So I'm interested.
This will be good for like when you and your friends want to like get together and like play like older games.
Yeah, for sure.
Very
I
likely,
couldn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because
you just get in those moods and they don't.
Local experience, right?
Yeah. And so you can just play a bunch of older titles that you used to love to play or whatnot.
Lego Star Wars.
I was gonna
Like-
say I'd imagine Lego Star Wars. Yeah, that was actually right in my head. As like Lego games would be probably a good example, at least for like local play.
For sure.
Like,
I literally can't think of any other example, but I know there's plenty of games like that.
They're out there. We're just a big fan of Lego Star Wars.
Just play Battlefront. Honestly,
Good.
I don't know, the older one. I don't know. I'm
yeah, because they did drop those servers, right? That
Mhm.
was a little while ago.
Yeah.
We said rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
So next big topic, Fallout 76 has a subscription service
Yuck.
for $100 a year.
Broken game.
My manager brought this up before we even talked about it this morning.
I love
Because
that they
he
tried to
loves-
phrase it as $13 a month. Go on.
He loves bringing up just the shortcomings of Bethesda and Fallout 76, and he told me that for $100 a year, you can get a subscription to Fallout 76, and I just started laughing.
And not only that, but you will get the stuff that they promise free with the game, which is I think
That's
hilarious.
the best part right there.
I think the best representation of Fallout 76 is the Internet Historian video. I don't know if
That's an absolute.
I don't know if you guys have watched it, but basically, this guy on YouTube, Internet Historian, one of my favorite content creators personally.
Amazing videos.
Yeah, he basically he takes the whole timeline of 76 from its announcement through basically its release, and Fallout 76 is one of the worst AAA games out there. It's sad to say because I think Fallout's an interesting series, but like I worked at Best Buy. I would never see like nobody would even want to come in and pick the game up, like never. It was so terribly like the marketing was so bad. The game wasn't finished at all. Like if you think about like hacking and glitches and it was so bad.
People got into the dev room, and then they couldn't stop the people from getting in the dev room, so they asked the people to tell him. They're like, "We'll unban your Smurf account if you tell us how you got in there." And everyone was like, "No, why are we gonna tell you that?"
Yeah, it was just such an abysmal release because it was so buggy and there were so many issues. Not only with the game, but there was so many promises of like features that you could get with a premium version. They promised a bag. The bag ended up like not being made of the proper material. They promised like these nice rum bottles. Not only was the rum bad, but it was literally like just plastic.
A
bottle, yeah.
plastic shell.
So it was so abysmal.
And
So now, on top of what's happened, they want to just take $100 a year, and just I don't understand what their thinking is here, but I'm very interested to see if people actually pay for it, just so I can understand like even why.
yeah, I mean they break it down to what like They said you can pay $13 a month, which is in itself ridiculous. You can get Hulu, Spotify, Showtime, and soon Disney Plus, all of that for less than a subscription service to a game that you already had to buy.
You already bought for $60. This was $60
Well, I mean,
for
I pre-ordered.
I mean, it dropped in price like 4 days after it came out, so you probably only paid like $45, maybe
30.
$30. So yeah, you're just, I don't know. It is.
And-
I can't even understand who's gonna buy that.
They promised their users DLC
Yeah.
because they were going to open one of the vaults. That was the big thing.
Wastelanders.
And then they
delayed it.
Yeah, delayed it and then released the subscription service.
So, not only that,
Delay the free update.
what
release
comes
the DLC,
what
release
comes
the
with it?
hounds.
What comes with it? You get an unlimited capacity scrap box for crafting and stuff like that, and like a survival tent that you can place for fast travel, a whole bunch of stuff like that. Plus, you get 1650 atoms per month, which is the in-game currency. A members-only armor outfit, which was problems with the game, but doesn't matter.
Isn't that just
Exclusive
matter.
emotes
Brush
and
over
icons. And everything that you collect will still be available once you drop the subscription, as well as first members can create private worlds for them and up to 7 other people, which has already been broken. Several hours ago, people have already figured out how to join other people's private worlds and mess stuff up. So, I don't understand how this game is going to exist. They promised a battle royale, which was terrible, and just I feel so bad for Bethesda because
I feel bad for the people that bought it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I feel bad. I feel bad for the developers.
Yeah, for the
They
developers.
have to deal with the corporate side of things.
They do have to deal, and not only that, this wasn't even Bethesda's main team.
Yeah,
This was their like B team, if you will,
and they got
and they got just shoved
They-
into the
they-
spotlight.
They actually Bethesda bought the development team. They were developing some multiplayer third-person shooter, and they said, "You know what? Cancel that. We're going to give you 3 years to make multiplayer Fallout." And here we are now.
Amazing,
I don't know why they only thought it would take 3 years.
I don't know.
especially
for
with
a
their
game
ambitious claims.
so complicated to involve MP.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they had to like rebuild almost most of the engine to include multiplayer,
Right.
and they brought in an outside team that had never worked with the engine before to then rebuild the engine.
And didn't give them enough time, so I don't understand. Anyway, we'll see how it goes, and I'll watch some videos about it, see what the disaster is.
Internet Historian: The Fall of '76 Part 2.
Yeah, I don't understand, but I mean,
It can't get well. I'm gonna say it can't get any worse, but
It
we're gonna watch them do something even worse than that.
it can't get worse. I flatly believe it cannot get worse than Fallout 76.
I said that before the paid subscription came out, and then it got worse with the paid subscription.
Imagine a
Now it
premium
can get worse.
premium bug fix patch. You have
Oh,
to pay
dude.
to fix your game.
Bug fix DLC.
Paid mods.
It's
Oh, boy.
Operation Health in Siege, but you pay $15.99.
Yeah, because even I've played some broken ports. I played Dark Souls on PC before the remaster was out, but people were allowed to go fix the game. I downloaded a mod to fix it, and it wasn't perfect, but it's still better than it used to than it was without it, and so I don't understand how they just let people play this game. It's so broken.
It feels like, I don't know if you guys got into modding Fallout 4, but it feels like a Fallout 4 mod that was poorly put together.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Thank you. So anyway, next topic. Gaming disorder, not a thing apparently.
Who would have saw that
Nice.
coming?
I wouldn't have. And so a new study suggests that gaming disorder, recently added to international classification of diseases, may not be a real thing. Or at the very least, researchers say they think there's no evidence to suggest that the games themselves are the problem. A study comes from Oxford Internet Institute and conducted last year on a group of 1,000 14 and 15-year-olds from around UK. The kids and their parents or their caregivers answer some questions about the gaming habits and how they did in daily life. So one of the lead doctors, Andrew, Przybylski? Yeah. Co-author of the study said that their findings saw no evidence suggesting unhealthy relationship between gaming with gaming accounts for substantial emotional, peer, and behavioral problems. Instead, the variations in experience are more linked to teens' physiological needs for competence, autonomy, and social belonging, and if they're experiencing wider functioning issues. So basically, this just says a few things.
We live in a society.
Yes. Basically, if you're playing games and you have these problems, it's not the game's fault that you have those problems. It's just
You're a byproduct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your
really.
problems are causing you to play the game. The game's not causing your problems.
yeah. I think that's really interesting because we know a bunch of people that play video games, and a lot of them are pretty well adjusted, me not included. But we just know a lot of people. So trying to suggest that the games are the issue. I just it blew my mind when the article first came out that it was classified as a disease at all.
Listen, there's several reasons why playing video games will just improve certain things for you, and I don't know how to explain it other than A, you'll probably learn some social skills. B, you'll probably I don't know, your reactions increase. You get hand-eye coordination.
Me and my girlfriend
so
actually took
There you go.
a comparative reaction time test yesterday, and I beat her by about 50 milliseconds.
Which is crazy. And that's
And I was below average by about 45 milliseconds, and that's probably just because I'm an FPS gamer boy. But yeah,
No,
it's
yeah.
just true.
It's just a true it's just a true thing.
And I don't know if you guys know who Vsauce is, right? But he had one of those YouTube Red premium shows.
Those are free now, by the way.
They are free. This is where I'm going with it. He has one on how people who regularly play video games and spatial memory and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He found that
You're just by far and away.
yeah, your hippocampus is actually larger than other people's.
Yeah.
I'm actually ripped in the hippocampus, bro. Come at me.
I got
Big brain, big brain.
Big brain. I got that fat hippocampus.
Oh boy. So basically, what the researchers are saying that the people that play video games are just experiencing they have other psychological issues that aren't really being met. So the games are basically an escape for these problems. So yeah, I think this article is pretty open to shut. I just think it's super interesting that a few months after they decided it was a disorder, but it's not actually, and people made a big deal out of it for no real reason.
And that whole revelation that someone's problems are causing them to play games and not the other way around, that makes a lot more sense than the video games causing the problems.
Yeah, people have had addiction for a long time. People turn to alcohol, drinking, and
A
same
Well, and
plethora of other things.
And admittedly, gaming communities aren't doing themselves a favor because I mean we're adding loot boxes and just
Admittedly, a lot of those things that are more capitalistic than they are just video gamey. It's just it's a way to
you can play Lego
to
Star Wars.
monetize video games further.
Lego Star Wars loot box subscription fee, $100.
10 years after release.
Dude, let's buy it. Let's buy it.
I would buy it for sure. So next article, we talked about this last week. The big Blizzard controversy. So Blizzard, in their infinite wisdom, have decided to change their mind about how they decided to suspend the Hearthstone player that talked about Hong Kong on stream. So basically, Blizzard has decided to reduce the sentence from what he was banned a year down to 6 months, and they also restored his prize money.
Which I think that's the biggest deal. Just make sure that the guy gets paid. You're already putting him basically out of business for 6 months. If this is his life, if this is his livelihood, which I would assume it is, because for a lot of people who step into these
You can't be in a pro scene and do another thing.
That's what I
That
mean.
is,
They
they
can
have
use time to practice.
like I go to work for 8 hours. They train for 8
hours a day. This guy just plays card games. Not to say that it's not cool, man. I like Hearthstone. I don't play it.
If you
but I
pronounced
like
it right.
Play a Windows
Hearthstone,
Solitaire
sorry,
pro scene.
man.
He's a fake Hearthstone fan.
I'm
Hurts.
not even a fan.
Anyway, so the Blitzchung, the player, had some comments about what's going on. So basically, he's saying he's very grateful for Blizzard reconsidering their position. He knew himself that he was gonna have some kickback for what he decided to say, and so from now on, he says he's gonna do it in more private situations and not on stream. Blizzard has not actually taken back any of their punishment for the commentators that were on stream at the time. So he basically asked them if they can reconsider their punishment, because it wasn't really their fault that happened. So I'm still hoping something comes of that, but at the same time, this is at least a better thing.
It's better.
Yeah, it's better than what they did last week.
But they've already kind of set off the spark here, you know?
Yeah.
Because now they're showing their loyalty to China. Now people are realizing what China's doing, and you know,
Yeah.
they still gain like a
It
following of support for Hong Kong.
it probably honestly banning them made people support the whole thing more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know how they're gonna totally recover, but we'll see.
I saw a thing, and this is kind of unrelated. It's related to Hong Kong, but it's kind of unrelated to the whole thing. Someone said that I guess Hello Kitty in China is just
Oh
huge,
yeah.
right? And so someone said if you really wanted to make China think about the whole Hong Kong thing, to just make all of your like Hong Kong support branded by Hello Kitty, and they would either have to let it through or ban Hello
They
Kitty.
wouldn't let it through. They just ban it.
Exactly,
say
but
they'd
Hello
probably
Kitty
ban
is
Hello
just, I
Kitty.
guess, such a huge thing.
Brand.
Well, then
Yeah.
you got uproar from China now because your citizens like Hello Kitty. What do you do,
Listen,
Hong Kong or Hello Kitty?
Did
You
you
gotta
guys hear
choose.
about TikTok
No.
No.
becoming like a concern for
For what?
national security? It could be influenced by China's laws. And
Really?
Forced to cooperate with the Communist Party of China.
Really? I
That's
didn't hear about
hilarious.
this.
Yeah, it's bottom of the dock.
Okay, thank you.
So
I just thought it was relevant to like this topic.
No, I'm interested.
like I as an American post a video supporting Hong Kong on TikTok's side, but TikTok has to take it down because
TikTok will already take them down. They've already.
oh they're already supporting China.
Yeah, they censor content deemed politically sensitive to the Chinese Communist Party, including content related to the Hong Kong protests, Tiananmen Square, Tibetan and Taiwanese independence, and the treatment of.
And that's pretty big
That's a word.
because
That's so weird.
Uyghurs, maybe, and that's very much me being American.
Uyghurs, yeah, but I'm just reading that TikTok is now being considered by Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas, and how TikTok might be a counterintelligence threat that the U.S. cannot ignore, and that's a sentence that I don't think I'll ever say again, or that I ever expect to read.
But it kind of makes sense though when
It's
you
scary.
see the way that they're able to control the content and what that could come to. Let's say like next election time, like can TikTok just like if you're like promoting DT, can they just like be like no?
No.
You know what I mean?
No more
'Cause it's a
Donald
big- it's a
Trump.
big
because now
platform
China
now.
can influence
That's what I mean.
American
like that-
politics, kind of like
exactly.
Russia did with
There you go.
Facebook.
That's what I'm trying to. That's where I'm trying to tie it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this plays out for TikTok.
Just by restricting certain content. Too.
Yeah,
I want a Red Scare Part 2.
I-
You hear
part
you hear
three,
you
actually.
part
That's
3.
part 3, yeah.
But you hear someone says, "Yeah, I make TikToks."
Back up.
Take 'em to
Call the
counter-
House Un-American Activities Committee, dude.
I'm just bewildered that that's a thing.
Well, like, what do you do? Do you ban TikTok, and now all of a sudden your American citizens hate you, but you've stopped the influence of their, freedom of thought from China?
It's
or you keep it going.
It's got 110 million U.S. downloads.
That is a lot.
That's like
Just
literally,
the U.S.
yeah. That's like a
It's-
third of
that's
the
a
U.S.
It's-
population.
I was
US
gonna say it's one of the most popular apps in the U.S. currently.
I'm
Especially among younger, like Gen Z,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm Gen Z, and I just got the right to vote. Like you can influence us on that app easily.
Mm-hmm. Especially because like if you're just able to filter like broadly like just certain types of content, just
Yeah.
show people only like this,
like
it's
YouTube
definitely-
kind of did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that ends up working out. Next topic, Joker. Talk about box office.
Yeah, man, they're
Joker
killing
podcast.
it. This
Joker
is the
podcast.
Renaissance
definitely,
Boy
I think
Joker
it's the biggest,
podcast.
highest grossing R-rated movie ever.
Did it already make it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. I saw it was gonna pass it up, but pass up Deadpool. But
Yeah,
it's
it's
crazy that it made it.
It's near $500 million in profit. Profit, not just
Yeah.
gross. So, it's pretty close to Avengers: Infinity War,
Oh,
like one of the biggest movies.
that's big for
Of
DC
this
in
year.
general.
That's
There.
huge.
And or one of the biggest movies like ever.
Yeah, I'm super impressed. I don't know if you guys have seen,
It's
but
not
there's
far from Black Panther either.
I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's already there's like plenty of people flocking to the stairs in New York where he does the dance.
Oh yeah, no,
And they're
yeah.
dressing as
Have you
Joker
guys
and-
seen the like it's a video and it's just up the entire set of stairs. There's somebody on every single set trying to get a picture. Like every single step, there's a person trying to get.
There's
a
a
picture.
lot of steps. That's a lot of
Oh,
steps.
and by the way, I thought in the movie that like the way that they showed the shot for the stairs, I thought for a minute that they did kind of like a CGI world building thing where they then like replicated the stairs a bunch to make it seem as though it's Arthur like it's like a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like referencing like just like it just being like the most like steep set of stairs ever,
Yeah.
and like it's apparently
It's
not
just
that.
that.
It's just a big set of stairs.
It's
I
just
just didn't realize that. Like in the movie, they gave me the impression maybe that like they're just trying to like make us feel something about the character. Like he's
Yeah.
got to go up all those stairs, but like they're really
Well,
there.
Down on those stairs.
He's talking about the first time when he goes up.
He's gotta
But
go home.
Like because in that scene too, like it's shot very differently. Like
Yeah.
the stairs seem to go on almost forever.
A little bit,
in
yeah.
that scene.
So
If you're into that sort of thing.
it's apparently it's almost gonna break like $1 billion just in worldwide box office. I'm excited to see how big this movie gets because this movie was, I think, really fantastic. But
I think it should be a model for most of all of DC's. I think it gets it's a different take on like superhero. Even if they make their like superhero movies darker in tone.
I don't care about the darkness of it. I just hope that they take the artisticness
Well, yeah.
of the Joker and work it into other movies. Because Marvel had a really, really good first outing. Iron Man is a fantastic movie in and of itself. It's just a really solid plot and character development, and it just works. Like the end scene is the perfect
Set up for
universe
the MCU.
builder. It
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
it perfectly sets the seed that there's more going on than just this one guy with his
Right,
problems.
and it sets up, of course, this first generation of movies, whatever we'll call them.
Yeah, it sets up
Infinity War Saga, whatever.
like even if you talk about just up to the Avengers, nobody thought the Avengers would be a thing, and that started with one scene in one movie.
And I mean, look at like how poorly it can be replicated too with Justice League. Like, it's just not that. It's not as easy as just we do a few solo movies and then we'll do a big universe movie and it'll be cool. It's like you gotta get certain things.
You have to
right.
put the legwork in.
Yeah.
And so DC looks like it finally decided to put the work in via Todd Phillips. So I'm hoping that they like take this and build on it because I think it'd be a really, really good base. I know people were complaining. Some people were complaining that Batman really didn't need to be in this movie, but in my opinion, I think it was a really good like opening act.
Yeah. I
You
think
know.
people are just upset because they always see it.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know.
It's kind of like the Uncle Ben thing. Like, how many times is he gonna die?
3 at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, now not 4, which is good.
Now, not 4, yeah. But
And-
while we're on the joke, can we talk about Jared Leto being a salty boy?
Oh,
Oh yeah.
I think that's hilarious.
trying to get the Joker movie canceled.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Cancel him.
he just needs to accept the fact that he was not a good Joker, and
And I don't even
I
want
I
to
don't
say
even
that.
blame Jared Leto for that.
I
That's
don't
just
think
bad
it's
writing.
entire. Yeah, it's
Terrible
just
writing.
bad writing.
Yeah.
I think he probably did his best that he could.
He's a method actor. I can't imagine it's that he just doesn't know how to play Joker. It's literally like
Well-
if you look at any of the scenes that he was in, even the ones that they deleted, all of them are nonsense.
Yeah.
All of them.
the stuff he did behind the scenes to like the cast to like get into character was also weird. Like he'd send them stuff in their like mail, and
Yeah, and I
It
heard that they
was-
were just like weapons and stuff.
yeah, it was.
There was a
it put him
pig's
like
head,
off, yeah.
like pig's head, and with blood and stuff. It was really creepy, but I think it wasn't a bad attempt into getting into the character because it's just super wacky. But I think that he's really limited by the cast, and I feel kind of bad for him because at the same
Just that
time,
whole script, just the
It's-
idea of trying to work Joker into a movie that already features so many different characters.
and
that
he
people don't
wasn't
know about
even
either, just new characters.
Yeah. which
he
be-
wasn't even really in the movie that much.
It's about like what I think 5 minutes.
But he's
Yeah.
in all of the he was in all of the
He was in-
advertising,
And I think
Oh,
they probably worried they wouldn't be able to sell the movie if
Without-
the Joker wasn't in it.
which I think they should have just not had him in it and sold it that way, because
Yeah.
that way you'd been able to focus. But whatever.
And or it could have built up to a solo film that would have or a duo film that would have starred him and Harley. I think that would have been the best way to do it.
That would have been good.
Yeah, I wonder, kind of just how they're gonna I hope he gets something from this, because I feel bad that he got kind of slighted by not only his writers, because they were terrible,
Yeah.
but also the fact that he didn't get to star in the next movie, which I think he would have been decent at.
I'm sure he would have done a good job.
I just think there's no way to come back from the way they set that Joker up.
It's
There's
just
no way,
so
there's
rough.
no way to like.
You,
like,
you
unless
don't you don't need a
retcon-
tattoo that says damage to know that the Joker's a psychopath. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I understand that he's frustrated, but at the same time, I just want him to get out of that rut. Because I feel
he
bad.
did handle it in a kind of a bad way.
But
You don't need to try and cancel the movie.
not only that, but I mean, you just kind of get slighted for no reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But either way, what other movies we got?
We got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood coming back to the screen with 10 minutes of additional DLC footage.
Really?
Yeah, so if you want to go back and see the movie again, with literally just 4 scenes worth of footage,
Cash grab?
cash grab.
Maybe. I haven't seen the movie though.
I didn't
What-
I didn't see it either.
It's really good.
What's it about even?
Okay, so it's about an actor in Hollywood with his stunt double. The stunt double played by Brad Pitt and the lead played by DiCaprio. And basically, it's just this saga in which you see kind of the life of him and his
Stunt double.
compatriot, the stunt double. Just kind of go and do a bunch of movies, and then like it hits you with a twist at the end and that sort of deal. And I don't really know how to describe this film. It's definitely like it's a character study for sure, because you're just following along with both Brad Pitt and DiCaprio's characters, who are often hand in hand because of course they roll together.
I'll probably go see it, because I've never seen the movie, and I've heard it's really good.
It is good.
So I'll have to go see it, maybe talk about it. But I mean, now that it's coming back in theaters, I mean, why not?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you'll feel like it's dragging on a bit, and then the ending will make up for that.
You know what's funny though, because when I saw that movie, people told me that it might drag on, and I never really had that feeling when I was in the theater. Like, I can understand where people like were held up with certain things, especially because like it's not a traditional Tarantino movie in the sense in which that you don't get like, it's not like action then like a little bit of like wait and then more action. Like
It's not a Pulp Fiction.
You have to wait. You have to wait
It's-
for certain stuff, like crazy Tarantino things to happen.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, the setup of the movie and or like what goes on is interesting. Like, yeah, I don't know.
It's as exciting as if you were to go and follow a famous Hollywood actor right now, just follow him around for a day. It's very like general stuff, because Tarantino movies don't have like that like structured plot, I guess. And then it like there's a bunch of background stuff that they kind of dabble in that all builds up eventually. It's really weird how you set it up, but yeah, it's cool.
It works for the ending. I feel the setup is necessary. And then like another thing coming out coming out this week on the 23rd. That was yesterday. Well, anyway, Jesus is King is Kanye's new album, and it's supposed to be coming with an IMAX movie that will only apparently be 35 minutes, which means that you'll likely be paying for $1 every 2 minutes because of the prices of IMAX tickets. Probably about $20 a ticket. So for 35 minutes of content from Kanye West, which again, this will only be in theaters for like a week.
Cash grab? I feel like there's cash grab in everything we talk about.
No, for sure. I mean, it's sad to see, especially because like the film might be okay, but it'll always just be overshadowed by the fact that you released it for almost too much money to a really small audience too.
And
It's
only for
in IMAX
a
theaters.
week.
Is it
For
going
a
to be?
week.
is it going to be in IMAX theaters around the country or IMAX theaters in LA?
Around the country, 500 theaters.
There's 2 theaters you can watch.
But it's definitely like one of those movies where like you can't see it kind of easily, I guess. It's the same thing with JoJo's Rabbit.
I don't know.
Not sure.
That's the one with the imaginary friend who's Hitler.
Mm-hmm. And it's like kind of a Holocaust tale. It's from the kid's perspective.
Okay.
And he's in Hitler's youth program, and that's how he gets the imaginary friend. It's kind. I'm excited to see it actually, and I'm not able to because it's not in a theater near us. But
Yeah, closest one's Cleveland Heights.
Cleveland.
I mean, I might go see it with you. Just trek out to see it because I
You've
really
driven
like
to Cleveland for
I like
movies,
Taika
so.
Waititi.
No, I know. I just would never do it for like.
For Jojo Rabbit.
Not for Jojo Rabbit.
What
Necessarily.
movie did you go see in IMAX?
I went and saw Last Jedi in IMAX, which was amazing. Just for the
yeah,
spectacle.
that's-
The spectacle in
not
IMAX
the story.
is incredible, not the plot. The plot's hot garbage.
I just
but-
can't believe that Kanye's making a movie because I was like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, this is gonna
I
be
can.
this is gonna be a sweet album.
I have the trailer for it too, and it features a little bit of the music, so maybe it's definitely gospel focused. This sample, by the way, for everybody out there, is probably from the song "Say You Will" by Kanye West off of 808s and Heartbreak. I don't know if you guys recognize it. Of course, it is actually. It's actually just "Say You Will" in gospel, and I'm so excited for this because I'm pretty sure it's just gonna be Kanye songs remixed to just be completely gospel, and I'm just so excited to sample it. Oh my goodness. My favorite comment from the video is Kanye fans waiting for this album like Christians waiting for Jesus.
But I mean, it's coming out.
But
It's happening.
coming.
It's happening.
Coming.
Anyway, what other movie news we got? Uncut Gems is coming out sometime soon.
Yeah, it's basically a drama starring Adam Sandler, who traditionally, of course, is known for his comedy
Comedies,
roles.
yeah.
So,
I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer.
mhm.
When we went to see Joker, we saw it.
I can pull up a clip of that. Not necessary.
No. But I think that it's an interesting role for Adam Sandler because you watch Billy Madison, you watch I don't know, bedtime stories. That's one of my what I grew up with. I saw in theaters,
Uh-huh.
but like you think of him as like exclusively a comedy actor,
Yeah.
and you see the trailer and it's like, oh, he might actually be able to have a role that's not just
Can
about.
he do something other than
What?
Do
comedy?
you know about Devil Next Door with the guy from Cleveland who got accused of being a Holocaust guard, accused of being Ivan the Terrible?
No, I didn't see that.
Okay. I was seeing if you had any background.
No.
I'm interested to see Uncut Gems just because like if you've watched Click the movie, like the movie's like a comedy obviously, but at the same time it includes some like more heartfelt elements,
Yeah.
and so I'm interested to see how like the directors like move him into like a more serious role, because I've read some stories about it how he was like it was like a really intense shooting where they like beat him up and stuff like that.
Did you say they beat him up?
Yes, like seriously. So I'm interested to see it because it looks just. I don't know. I haven't seen him in such a serious role, so I'm instantly drawn to the movie just to be based on how different it is, based on my expectations of seeing Adam Sandler in any role ever.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the movies Adam Sandler's been in the last 10 years have all been directed or produced by Adam Sandler. So it's a lot of him telling himself what to do. So
Mhm.
he's kind of set his own, like,
Tone, his
yeah,
style.
like people don't like him because he's written his own movies and he's written his own parts, and he's not good at writing the movies. So he's
Yeah, I
not a
was
bad
gonna say,
actor.
I just feel like all of his movies have been mediocre. They're not bad.
Yeah, they could
But-
lose a lot more
Yeah.
to them.
And just we ignored Jack and Jill because that movie was.
That was okay.
But there's been some movies that aren't terrible, but I just this seems like a much I don't know, more official, much like artistic movie in my mind.
The next movie maybe is like Devil's Next Door. It's coming out on November 8th. It's basically it's actually hits home for us in the area because a man in the 1980s named John Demjanjuk, I'm gonna go with. He was living in Cleveland. Basically, he was like a retired mechanic, I believe. Anyway, though, he ends up getting extradited to Israel when he's accused of being Ivan the Terrible, one of the people who basically was a guard in the Holocaust. And so
I mean, his name is Ivan the Terrible. I think
it gets released on November 8th, and it's basically just this story of this guy who basically is just kind of, they get like an inconclusive result where he says that he hasn't done any of the things, and people are passionately accusing him of like people come to Israel to testify against him.
Really?
Yeah.
And this is based on a true story.
Yeah,
right?
no, this is a true story.
Is it? I mean, I doubt it was even in the German military.
Basically, it just comes out kind of inconclusive. Like, they know that they're trying to get Ivan the Terrible, this guy, right? But this guy is just a retired
Mechanic
Ukrainian American in Cleveland.
Yeah, that's
And yeah, I don't know. I guess the movie just goes through the whole case and that sort of thing. I just think it looks really interesting, just because that's some hell of a story, man.
I kind of like legal drama a little bit, political drama. So I think I'll be interested in watching it. I haven't heard about that.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Plus, it's coming out on Netflix November 8th. So
Oh, it's on Netflix.
yeah.
Okay, that'll be awesome.
That's a release that you could just see the day it comes out at home. Same thing, I think, with Irishman, right?
Irishman is, I think, the 15th. So The Irishman is another film.
This is actually very directly tied to Joker right now, featuring Martin Scorsese as the director, and of one of the leads from Joker, Robert De Niro, as usual, doing big things. This cast, though, looks crazy. If you've seen Goodfellas, I feel like you have to be excited for this movie. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci. I mean, they're old, but
They're
I think
old, but they're still good.
but this is, I don't know. I'm so excited for this movie. This is one of my most
it's a-
anticipated releases.
Crime movie about a
Jimmy
Jimmy Hoffa.
Hoffa,
truck driver who gets involved with the crime
union
crime
leader
family.
of the truck driver union, the Teamsters.
I'm super interested immediately. I haven't read anything about this.
This is actually the person that Mr. O'Neill told us
I was gonna
about.
say,
Yeah,
did
Jimmy.
Irish Mike teach us
This
this?
is this is that guy.
In other news, Cartoon Network show Adventure Time has been ordered for 4 new
Whoa.
specials.
On HBO.
Yeah, which
For shows,
For-
single episodes.
basically
4 1-hour specials.
so
Oh.
basically a really long episode that just can kind of cover a few different things, maybe a few different mini episodes, but it's 1 hour long special. Set to release in 2020 sometime.
Yeah, I believe so. But it's still interesting, especially because of HBO Max being such a big new platform and acquiring something that we knew is traditionally from Cartoon Network. So
I've watched a decent bit of Adventure Time. I haven't gotten through the whole thing. I need to go rewatch it. But the fact that they're ordering 4 specials for this platform, kind of interesting. I might have to figure out how to get that, because I don't know if you guys have watched the finale, but it doesn't end like a super conclusive, happy cartoony kind of way.
I haven't.
It kind of is just a very mediocre ending. It's not super conclusive. So maybe we'll see what it's about. But I mean, the fact that there's 4 specials for it, I'm pretty excited. It's one of my favorite childhood shows.
Do you think it would be good though? Because like the show was good. Like I never watched it, but I heard like people loved it,
Mm-hmm.
and like they loved the ending to it also. So I think that the good part about it was that it ended. You know.
Yeah,
So the fact that they're bringing it back, you know, can they
it could be just side stories.
bring it all back?
I don't think it'll like trample on the end like some series did, but I think it'll be fine. We'll at least get to see it. Who knows? Other big news: last Star Wars 9 trailer dropped. Don't know if you guys are hyped.
Mhm.
I definitely am, just to see the movie.
Did you watch it yet?
excited to see
I
the
have seen it.
spectacle
Okay.
of
I
Star
can't-
Wars 9.
I can't let myself get hyped because hype leads to disappointment.
Disappointment.
Yeah, but I'm expecting disappointment. I'm hyped for that. That's what I'm
He's
hyped for.
hyped
To see-
for the disappointment.
I'm only there for the visuals. They could come on a
100%.
screen. They could say C-3PO is dead. That's retconned.
That's
I'd
it.
be like, you know what? I'm here to watch a Star Destroyer be lifted out of the ice. That's all I'm here for.
That's the whole movie though. C-3PO's dead. That's the whole movie.
They spend an hour just killing him off, and then that's it. That ends the entire
I
saga.
hope that they kill him really slowly on screen for an hour. Like we
It's just like a
have to
violent
watch.
strangling scene,
Yeah,
but he's a
we just-
robot, so
yeah.
it doesn't.
Oh boy.
I'd like even some like mechanic who's just slowly
Just
taking
taking
him
him
apart
apart.
for the entire
I like-
length of
yeah.
the movie.
You guys-
That's what I like to
Did
think.
you guys remember they had a scene like that in Jabba's palace that was super like I didn't get like because I just didn't recognize the visuals. There's just like a torture chamber. I just can't imagine that for
Oh,
like
yeah.
the entire movie. That'd
They're
be
like
crazy.
heating up the Gonk droid's feet. That was
Oh
weird.
boy. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this week.
Tech news? A little bit?
Nah.
Nah?
Nah, we can say that for next week. That's pretty much it for this week. Thank you for everybody who's listening in. Be sure to check our YouTube channel at Renaissance Boys. Follow us on Instagram at Renaissance Boys, RENAISSANCE. Boys.
It is a hard word to spell.
It is hard.
No shame.
So thank you very much for listening in. Be sure to tune in next week, Thursday, 4 to 5:30. You know what? Have a good night, everybody.